Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for hopping on for this really special conversation that we get to have with Dr. Malmed about detox on Redox and what you can kind of look for as you're starting your Asea journey. Really excited to have Dr. Malmed joining us this morning to talk a little bit about this topic in particular. And Dr. Malmed has over 3 decades of experience as a doctor of chiropractic. He is a certified applied kinesiologist. He is the chiropractic medical director at Comfort Fit Labs Orthotics. He's actually just taking a break this morning from work to have this conversation with us. He has actually practiced for 5.5 years at the New York Hospital, one of the select number of chiropractors in the country to have done so. He has his BA from Syracuse University in New York and his Doctor of Chiropractic degree from Palmer College. Say that 5 times fast. And so really, Dr. Malmed, I'm really excited about this conversation that we are going to be having. And, you are a member of Asea's Medical Professionals Board as well. For how many years has that been now?
I was one of the initial ones, so this is my 6th year.
That is what I thought. Yeah. So we're just really grateful to have you on this morning. Can you give us a little bit of insight into your background and how long you have been working with Asea?
Sure. So I'm heading into my 39th practice as a chiropractor. Asea, we were introduced to by a friend who told us that it was a sports product, and that was August 10th of 2010. So just a little bit past next week, it's going to be 11 years that we're involved with this product. And I thought it was a joke in the beginning. Salt water from Salt Lake City and a network marketing model, not a chance that's going to help anybody. And boy, was I corrected. So once I saw first my wife got better from a long-term health challenge, then a bunch of my patients, then I had a patient who had sort of a life-changing, life-ending illness. And that guy's still with us, and it's 10.5 years. And when I saw that, I said, I must be involved because it'll be criminal if I don't share this with people.
Amazing. Yeah. And I know that you've continued to see experience after experience with people who on this product, especially with that many years of experience with the product. So I love it. Well, tell me a little bit, new Redox users can experience some signs of detoxification within minutes or days of drinking Asea for the first time. Can you explain to us a little bit about why that detox might happen?
Sure. And if it's happening, congratulations, your body's starting to work the way it's supposed to. So, I'm not young like you. So, in my heading towards my middle 60s, if I wasn't on Asea, I have decades of cellular junk and debris and molecular byproducts and just stuff that I don't want in there. So the more that people have aged or they've been athletes, because that causes free radicals and cellular damage, or they've done big medications for big illnesses, or they've just had not a great lifestyle, there's tons of cellular junk. And we need that to be gotten rid of. And the body is brilliant. The body knows exactly how to detoxify, except as we age and we lose this supply and balance of redox signaling molecules, we cannot get rid of the junk the way that we've been able to when we were younger. So once we start supplementing this, it's sort of magical to behold that now we can start to get rid of the stuff that our body needs to get rid of to function at its peak. And sometimes as that junk gets mobilized by the new repaired cellular communication pathways, by the increased glutathione activity that happens with this, we see junk going into the system. And typically, if you're drinking enough water and you're taking care of yourself and you're resting and you're exercising and doing all the right things, it's going to be okay. But like whatever 10, 15% of the time, people will tell us, I don't feel so great. But luckily beforehand, we've managed their expectations and we've let them know that when you drink this, there is a chance that you might feel some signs of detoxification, which is awesome. And I know we'll get to it, but when they start feeling those things, it means glutathione activity is increasing, cellular messaging is increasing, the body's functioning the way it should, and it's dumping the junk out. And that's an amazing thing, because once you get past that, that's when you start on this great path to renewed health.
And I love that you say, you know, congratulations that it's happening, right? Because it really is an exciting thing that's happening in your body. And I appreciate that kind of a little bit more in-depth look into what is actually going on. So can you tell us some of the symptoms that people might experience if they experience this detox process?
Sure. First, I find that if they don't think I'm funny, they're probably detoxing. Exactly, which doesn't happen that often. It's only 10, 15% of the time. So headache, skin eruptions, lethargy, feeling fatigued, GI symptoms of any variety. Sometimes it's interesting. Sometimes we see people they get like brain fog. Others have very vivid dreams that happen. So sort of anything that can happen, as you would just sort of picture, junk is now in your bloodstream. You're not going to feel great. And that's okay. That means that your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do. So if you get a headache, if you get a rash, if your muscles are sore, if your joints are sore, sometimes people feel a little anxious. It's just things are coming out of the brain. It's coming out of the muscles. It's coming out of all the tissues, all the organs. It's a phenomenal thing. I'm in New York. I'm a New York doctor. I say, suck it up, drink more water. If you have to, you decrease the Asea some short term. And then as those signs start to calm down, start upping the Asea some, but just make sure that you're drinking tons of water. The more water you drink, the less you'll have the signs of detoxification.
Yeah, and you know, actually somebody asked over in the chat, which I think is a great question. Can you address a little bit of the taste and why Asea might taste different as someone might detox and cleanses through using Asea?
Sure. So it's very interesting. So it's not uncommon, especially when people are going to detoxify. If they're sort of toxic, it doesn't taste great. It's not like drinking a milkshake. It's like drinking molecules that are made from salt water. So in the beginning, it cannot taste good. And we don't really care because we know that it's good for us. And then as our cells heal, as our level of oxidation decreases, and as what we call our olfactory system, the ability for us to smell and taste, as those cells repair themselves and replace themselves with new, young, healthy cells, now the taste starts to lessen. So as sort of a researcher, I thought, it's just desensitization. We're just getting used to it over time. That's not true. What happens is in the beginning, it tasted bad. As time went on, it just tasted like water. If I'm having a good day, it tastes like water. But if I'm having a tougher day, truth be told, Terry and I had COVID back in January. It tasted like battery acid for a few days, almost not palatable. But we knew we just had to get it in our systems. So when the system is challenged, the Asea doesn't taste good. And then you will know that you are getting healthier as it starts to attenuate some and starts heading towards the flavor of just plain water.
Oh, that's fascinating. I know people always have that question of the taste of Asea. And then can you address a little bit why someone might experience that their blood pressure might elevate a little bit as they're going through a detox?
Sure. And that's one of the questions, we doctors and hopefully everybody else, when you're asking, do you have issues? Do you have hypertension? If you do, we want to be careful because as that detox process happens and we're mobilizing junk, that's what we're doing. It's going to make your blood a little thicker with the junk. And that's wonderful. But as that happens, as the blood gets more thick and viscous, it can actually signal the kidneys to work a little bit harder to get rid of that junk. And that can raise the blood pressure. It's always safe, but it can raise it, whatever, 5, 10 points, whatever it is, and just pay attention. So if by some chance you have low blood pressure, it's awesome. If you do have hypertension, pay attention. You may have to start the Asea a little bit slower, maybe just 1 or 2 ounces a day instead of 4 to start, and then just keep watching your numbers. And then as the detox goes away, then it's all going to go back and you will be surprised that maybe your blood pressure changes in the longer run.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've seen that happen time and time again in the long run, right? So it's exciting for people.
And just to be clear, changing in the long run in a good way.
Yes.
Yeah, just to be clear.
And I know, this detox that can happen for people can be uncomfortable. And I know that I myself have received phone calls where, a new customer might be a little bit concerned about what is going on in their body. And my reaction is similar to yours. It's always positive. It means that their body is responding well to the redox and their body is going and it's healing, right? So what do you usually say to someone who is going through this right now? I know that you said, people don't think you're funny if they're going through it right now. What do you usually say to those people?
Okay, so the beauty is when it's somebody that I'm helping, they already know that they may be experiencing this because I frame it up front because we don't want people scared. It would make perfect sense if you drink something new and you think it's going to make you feel better and you feel bad, this caused it, and that's bad for me, and I'm not going to drink it anymore. And that's happened untold numbers of times because people didn't get their expectations managed up front. So when it's somebody new that we're personally putting on it, then they already know about it. But when it's somebody else who's on our team and our group, always, congratulations. What you've done is you've just sped up your healing process. You're putting junk into your system because you're putting something good into your system that's causing it. And it's an amazing thing. So if they get nervous, it's like, okay, let's go down to 1 ounce a day. If they're really nervous, let's start with a half an ounce a day. And let's just incrementally raise it up. Drink more water, preferably a half an ounce per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 200, you want to drink 100 ounces of water. The more water you drink, try not to drink things if you're detoxing that are going to take away your hydration, caffeinated products. So just drink more water, drink less Asea, and just know that over time, you're going to be able to increase it back up to bigger doses. And that'll mean a bigger pathway to health.
Yeah. And you kind of mentioned this earlier, but what percentage of people usually experience a detox?
It's low. So I would say probably 10, maybe 15%. And it's not 100% the same population. Mm-hmm. But if somebody's been on chemo, if they've had radiation, if they've been, they live in New York City, they live where there's lots of toxic stuff, you can expect that the likelihood is higher. So here where we live, when I was working in Manhattan, definitely more people had it. So even though they think, they're living this great lifestyle, you're sucking in bus fumes all day long, and so we tell people, don't sit around at the back of a bus if you can help it. The less you can bring in toxic materials, keep your epigenetics good because there's nothing we can do about your genetics except drink this stuff and the likelihood will decrease. But I think globally, it's probably just about 10-ish%.
Yeah. And it sounds like it has to do a lot more with what you've experienced up until this point before using Asea, either lifestyle or different kind of conditions that you've been dealing with for a long time.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah. And so how long can someone expect that the detox might last for them?
Great question. So minutes, 2 weeks. We've had a couple of people that went on longer. So people who were long-term firefighters who had been around a lot of combustibles, like for decades, their cells were terrible. We've dealt with many 9/11 first responders. And that type of body that's brought in that much toxic material, and maybe they have tons of toxic materials. Maybe they're just a bad detoxifier in the first place. People who have, on here, some know about, MTHFR mutations, people who just can't detoxify. Those are the ones that we see needing to go slower. I actually designed a pretty cool protocol a couple of years ago that when somebody says, I'm sensitive, I believe them. Why would I go smash them with 4 ounces or 8 ounces a day? If you're sensitive, let's treat you like you're sensitive. Let's do 1 ounce a day for a week. Then we'll do 2 ounces a day for a week. Then we'll go to 4 ounces a day for a week. And then we'll go up to 8 ounces for that last week. So we're still using 1 case in a month, but we're babying them in the beginning because they need it. So if somebody says, I have hypertension, start with 1 ounce a day. If they say, thyroid, I have all these major medical conditions, let's just start with 1 ounce and you just manage up front. You're starting on a 1/4 of a maintenance dose. Do not expect to feel better. I want you on this for 3 months not 1 month, so that we can have the best shot at you feeling the difference. We know it's working 100% of the time, but if you stay on it for 90 days, 90% chance you're going to feel different.
Yeah, and I love that you're kind of diving into, some of those things that people can do, even if they don't know that they might be sensitive. You would usually recommend then that if someone starts to feel a detox, would you recommend them to kind of just back their dose down? What are some of the other things you mentioned? Water intake and everything. Can you kind of go through step by step? If someone experiences a detox, what would your protocol and recommendation usually be?
Yes. So I personally love my patients who say, if this is good for me and this rash is good for me, can I take more and get through it faster? The answer is sure. As long as it's not a blood pressure thing, as long as just rash, headache, lethargy, some loose stools, whatever it is, fatigue, go ahead and take more if they're willing. Most are not. So then we just decrease it. So we just drop it down. If they're doing 4 ounces a day, drop them to 2. If they still feel it, drop it to 1. Once that calms down, then just incrementally bring it up. Water is imperative. So we say a half an ounce per pound of body weight. You can always do more, don't get crazy, but water is the key. Rest is the key. Don't exercise very hard because that does increase free radical production, which is what we're trying to get rid of. So rest, just go for a walk, tons of water, decrease Asea short term, and that should mitigate what's going on.
Okay. Yeah. And, can someone also do things to even avoid experiencing a detox overall? How can they minimize some of those ordinary symptoms of detoxification?
Great question. You have very good questions, Alyssa. Okay. So when somebody says, but I want to start on the 4 ounces a day, I know that I have this and this and this, but I want to get it in my system. Okay. You want to do 4 ounces? Let's do 1 ounce 4 times a day. So now instead of blasting them with Redox, we just incrementally put it into their system. So maybe they do it at 8 and 10 and 12 and 2, so that now they're just putting it in little bits at a time. Their body is figuring out how to heal itself again. It's starting the detox process, but in a slower way. And I like that way to just sort of tiptoe people in who still want a full dose, but they want to be careful.
Oh, that's a great recommendation. And are there lifestyle changes they can also make to kind of just minimize those experiences of detoxification?
Yes, just say no to drugs, to alcohol, to things that stress you out.
Mm-hmm.
Meditate, walk, rest, watch old reruns, just things that, keep your stress level down. You know how to take care of yourself. Do it, because by putting Asea into your system, you're letting your body now start taking care of itself. You take care of your system and it will take care of you better.
And that I appreciate that you mentioned, making sure that they're on Asea for 3 months as well. Can you kind of walk us through even what someone might experience within the first week, the first month, and then that 3-month period as well?
Sure. So, after, in a very blessed fashion, we've gotten thousands of people on this product. So we've gotten to see what happens with people. And we've gotten these metrics over time. When we first started on this, Terry was vastly improved in 3 days, and I was vastly improved in 8 days. And that was a blessing because we made all the mistakes. We shared one case between the two of us. Who does that? People in the beginning did that because we didn't know anything. So the metrics that we've seen is if you're doing 4 ounces a day, which is sort of a minimal maintenance dose, in 30 days, about 50% feel better. In 60 days, about 70-75% feel better. And then after 90 days, about 90% have gone through the little check boxes on their body inventory, and they see improvements objectively on that little chart. 90 days, 90% feel improved. That is the investment. So the investment isn't, let me try it for a week. When I have a patient who says, I'll try it for a month, you're not ready. When you're really ready to get on a real path to wellness, I want 3 months of your life, and that's going to give you a 90% chance. And if 90 days goes by and you don't feel better, you really need this product because it's cleaning something that you don't know is in there. We never know what's going on until it shows up in a blood work or in some objective way. We want to get rid of that before it happens. So, standard doses is typically 4 ounces a day. My wife and I drink 16 ounces a day. We see people's health improve, and we don't want to ever have to deal with those issues.
Yeah, I really appreciate you mentioning that topic, just because a lot of people do say, well, I'll try it for a week, right? But just like you mentioned, we know that it's happening within the blood right away, but you may not see the difference for months even at a time. So um, let's shift gears just a little bit. Can you tell us about the Renew 28, and can people experience a detox using the Renew 28 and the serum?
Absolutely. I mean, so we saw. Some on here won't care, but we did this cellulite study years ago, and we found that when we just put the Renew 28 on topically, we saw fat lobules shrink. How does that happen? They're all the way inside. So when you put the Renew gel on, it's going through the epidermis, through the dermis, into what's called the hypodermis. That's where your fat lobules are. What else is in there? Your bloodstream, your vasculature, your nerves, your muscle tissue. So that stuff gets deep. We know it's getting into the bloodstream. We see circulation improves 49% in 15 minutes. If it's doing that, it's getting in towards your bloodstream. So we can't ignore that. So if somebody just starts using the gel, maybe to make their face look better, they're putting it on their carotids to try to get it to the system, and they don't feel good, use less. It's okay. Use less for a little while. Don't put it on twice a day. Put it on once a day. See if you still feel lethargic. See if you still don't feel good. See if you still get a headache. See if you're still getting a rash. If you are, slow it down. There are no side effects. If sometimes people put it on their face and they break out. Junk is being mobilized. It's coming out from where you're placing it. And if it takes 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, which we rarely see, just go slower, drink more water, take care of yourself, drink the product so that your body can actually really detoxify. Because when you're just putting it on the outside, it's drawing things out. But if you drink it on the inside, then it's going to come out through your tears, your sweat, your urine. It's going to come out proper channels, and you're going to have a faster detoxification.
And can you mention a little bit, some people may experience a little bit of drying effect when they first start using the Renew 28. Is that a detox symptom as well, or what is going on there?
I think it's a detox symptom. Not everybody has it, but we do see it a bunch.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of drying, which is interesting because after 30 days on average, we have 11% more hydration in the skin. So people say, no, it's a drying product. No, it's a moisturizing product, although there's no moisturizer. Your body's supposed to moisturize itself. So just stay the course, use it a little bit less, put on a moisturizer. Doesn't Asea have a moisturizer? Yes, we have an amazing moisturizer. Use the moisturizer as well. And then at some point, the skin is going to catch up with your healing. And then you're going to be more moist, more hydrated than you were before.
Yeah, and I will mention, I just did an interview with Dr. Carolyn Hoffman last month on the entire skincare line. So if you want to check that out, go and take a look in the group there. Great interview about our entire skincare line and how it complements you as you're trying the entire skincare line and Redox on your face. So Dr. Foster Malmed, thank you so much for your time this morning. Really appreciate it. I know you've got a busy schedule. I would just want to ask you, those people who are watching right now are just trying Asea, the Redox drink, the Renew 28 for the first time. What is always, the biggest recommendation that you have for those people who are just trying it? Maybe they even got their first case of Asea and Renew 28.
Okay, so again, congratulations. Okay, so I'm a researcher. I've been doing this now for just about 11 years. I study the studies that come out about redox. Now, when we look at the things that nobody wants on our planet, where does it come from? It's always associated now with inflammation, a loss of redox homeostasis. It's in redox balance. It's in all the literature now. It's published everywhere. We are so far ahead of our time. Anything that you would like to not have, if you have a balanced redox system, by drinking this product, you are going to have a better chance at having a better future. So I did this, I was the only chiropractor in the New York hospital, very conservative, and I was not going to talk about ASEA, not at all, until I started seeing what happened, and I realized I can change people's lives in ways that they can't get changed in this hospital. Maybe I can change them before they have to go see the people in this hospital. And so I decided to risk my whole career and start using this saltwater-based network marketing product in a hospital. And I changed a lot of that hospital. So I got to see tons of things. I got to see everything that people can think of and how it is that it responds. Detox when you're sick is common. Just stay the course. Don't be scared by it. Celebrate it, but try to mitigate it. Drink the water. If you don't drink any water, you say, "Oh, let me just take 12 ounces of this stuff. I won't drink water. I want to detox because they're going to congratulate me." We don't want that. We want you drink tons of water, take care of yourself, drink the product, and just trust that after 11 years with this product, and this product sales are not shrinking. We're now in 33 countries. When I started, we were in one. It grows because it's amazing. Just trust the science and the person who got you on this product.
Fantastic. Well, with that, thank you again so much for your time. Thank you everybody for hopping on this morning. There will be a link to the recording, just an amazing wealth of information. So thank you so much again for your time, and everyone have a wonderful day. Take care.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Alyssa.